the lonesome brick-leaf?
I am Lugh of the long arm, leading the army of the Duel against the might of the Fomorians. The battle will be fought here, old man, so get out now. You might get hurt.
Lugh?
Yes, Lugh. And I have come to challenge Balor of the Evil Eye to single combat.
Challenge who?
Balor. He before whom the whole country crouches in terror. He who can destroy an entire army with one glance of his infamous evil eye. So clear off. You might get hurt.
Overdressed for the occasion.
What did you say, old man?
All this colour, this display. Don't you think it a little inappropriate for these surroundings?
What's wrong with these surroundings?
You.
And what's wrong with me?
You're confusing the plant life.
Oh?
They don't know which way to turn. To you or the sun.
Funny you should mention that. When I approached Tara of the Kings, the soldiers assembled there said, "Is the sun rising in the west today?" I must have made quite an impression.
You did.
Oh, so my fame has reached even this god-forsaken place.
Well, your fame has preceded you. All that blather has made for a good story, and good stories travel.
Blather?
Tell the king I am a poet.
Oh, so you've heard. I am a poet.
So is everyone who rhymes bushes with thrushes.
Well, I served my time.
No doubt. Turning the boring details of someone's boring genealogy into boring quatrains.
I wasn't bored.
Oh, then you are a genuine poet. They invented such chores hoping the poets would die of tedium or go away, but the dull-witted poets didn't even notice.
Well, they were not bored.
Probably too drunk.
I had many other skills.
A regular jack of all trades.
A master of all arts and crafts.
Oh, tell the king I am a harper. Give me a harp and I will play them a lullaby.
And I put them all to sleep.
Well done. Well done. Wouldn't it have been a greater feat to have kept them awake?
Be careful of your mockery, old man. Don't you realize that I am also a warrior?
Oh, typical, when all else fails, threaten. Tell the king I'm a warrior.
Yes, well, that caught his attention.
Why wouldn't it? With a war imminent, he needs fodder for the battles.
I am not fodder. I am the one who can put an end to this war, who can put an end to all wars.
Oh, spare me. Whenever I hear such a claim, I brace myself for a long and bloody campaign.
There will be no long campaign.
Oh, you're an optimist.
We are ready for the decisive battle. The Fomorians have landed all over North Connaught and are advancing on Moytura right here as we speak. But our forces are massed to the south and are ready to meet them. Gwynnu and his smiths will repair with 3 strokes any weapon of the Duel that is broken during battle. Dean Keck and his physicians are deployed down below by the well and will restore to health any of our warriors. Ogma and our champions are ready to crunch with their clubs the bones of our enemies until the fragments are flying through the sky like hailstones. And Morrigan, our goddess of war, is ready to rain down blood and fire on the Fomorian warriors, so that their vision will be blurred and we can slaughter them all the more easily. Yes, their heads will be rolling down the slopes of the mountain. And all of this you will witness presently, unless you scamper now.
All worked out, eh? But what of their champion? What of Balor of the Evil Eye? As you have said, he can put paid to your whole army with one hostile glance.
I will put pay to Balor first, and when I have dispatched it from the Fomorians will have little stomach for battle.
What if you don't dispatch him?
Well, of course I will dispatch you. It is predicted that I kill him. It's my destiny.
Destiny?
You're trying my patience, old man, with your snide innuendo. Clear off before I challenge Balor, because you won't want to be around when we two start fighting.
Why bother fighting? If it is your destiny to kill Balor, then it will happen anyway. If it does not happen in combat, it will happen by perhaps a trivial accident, am I right?
Are you trying to confuse me?
Destiny is destiny. It can't be circumvent, right?
What will be, will be.
Then why get worked up? Why all the sweat and anxiety when the outcome is already determined?
It is my destiny to kill Balor in single combat, to blind his evil eye and chop off his head, so that his army loses heart and retreats.
What a bloodthirsty little rot.
What did you call me?
A little rot.
You must have great faith in the immunity that old age has conferred on you. I could swat you like a fly.
Back to bragging, are we?
Haven't you heard of the heroic feats that I performed for the assembly at Tara?
A trickster's performance, you have a bright future in entertainment.
And you have no future at all if you continue goading me.
Tell me, why did you declare for the usurper and not the rightful King Breus? Breus is a Fomorian like your mother and your mother's people.
Oh, so you do know all about me. Wonderful. Yes, it's true, I had a choice. But I decided to declare for my father's people, the two with the Danube. Besides, Lugh is the rightful king of Ireland.
Lugh lost his eligibility when he lost his arm.
He regained it when he regained his arm.
A silver ornament, a cheap trick.
Breus would still be king if he had been worthy.
A couple of bad harvests and the people turn on him. Some loyalty, that is.
And he goes running north for help. What is it about northerners? Any dispute and they rally the troops.
They have to stick together.
And threaten total destruction by unleashing Balor on the country?
Balor is their champion, the weapon of destruction. What do you expect them to do? Send boys out to throw stones?
No sign of Balor now. No sign of their great champion. He probably went into hiding when he heard that I was coming to challenge him.
Oh, I imagine he'll be along.
He probably heard of my feats at Tara.
He's capable of a few feats himself.
Oh yes, with his evil eye, he can wither the grass.
Destroy armies with the power of his eye alone.
Freeze birds to death off their roots.
His name is enough to strike terror into the hearts of his enemies.
Yes, but it'll take more than his name to frighten me.
Aren't you the plucky one?
Where are the Fomorians? Don't say that they've fled already.
They're probably having a nap before the battle, waiting for the outcome of this great contest between Lugh and Balor.
Why are they not watching? Don't they want to observe the greatest contest of champions that Ireland has ever seen?
No sign of the Tuatha De Danann taking up their viewing posts either.
Yes, well, they're not fools. Expose themselves to the evil eye of Balor and face extinction.
So they send you on ahead by yourself. Gallant warriors you have in the Tuatha De Danann!
Well, they will swarm the hills when the combat is over.
Not if Balor has won. They'll be running like rabbits back to Tara!
Balor won't win!
Cocksure!
I have a weapon that will accomplish the deed.
Weapon?
The Spear of Gorius, brought to Ireland by the Tuatha De Danann.
Can I see it? of course, Balor is invulnerable.
That's the story, but there is a qualifier. Invulnerable except against one of his own progeny.
He has no progeny. Have you not heard? The wily Balor kept his only daughter at home on Tory, far from contact with men, until she was past childbearing.
Not vigilant enough, his wily daughter wormed her way to love, while the not-so-wily Balor blinked.
That could be a story too, you know. Have you not heard? It is a wise man that is sure of his own parentage.
Are you playing mind games, trying to undermine me?
Can you trust those who pumped you up with a bogus story of your being the progeny of the great Balor?
I've always been told
Told by who?
By those who reared me.
That you're the grandson of Balor?
And that I was entrusted to them.
You've been spreading that unlikely tale for a while now. But does it not occur to you that the people who reared you might have been covering up an indiscretion in their own family?
I would never have questioned their integrity.
Well, maybe you better have given it some thought now, before going into combat with the great Balor, because...
If I'm not his grandson...
Then you've no guarantee by destiny, and Balor will make minced meat of you.
Well, my foster parents were the very best of people. They would never have lied to me.
If you were a little older, you would realize everyone lies about such things. If they didn't, the whole fabric of society would collapse.
You are so cynical.
And you are so young and gullible. And you are going to challenge Balor?
Of course. I must. I can't back down now.
It'd be no disgrace to withdraw on the grounds that you were misinformed, fed a bogus story.
But I'm not sure that it is a bogus story.
Okay, let's say there is a possibility that the story of your being descended from Balor is true, and that there is an equal possibility that it is untrue. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
A 50-50 chance, right?
Right.
Now, if you are the grandson of Balor, you fight him and you will win. Let's call that outcome one.
Right.
Now, if you are not the grandson of Balor, you fight him and you will win, or you could lose. Let's call that outcome 2A and 2B.
So my chances of victory are what, 3 out of 4?
Your chances of defeat is 1 in 4.
Well, I'll take that.
Consider now that outcome 1 and outcome 2A are the same. So killing Balor does not prove paternity.
Well, that doesn't matter to me. He'll be dead and I'll be the celebrated victor.
It's not as simple as that. If both outcomes are possible, then one outcome cannot cancel the other. If you fight and kill Balor, it does not negate the other possibility that you fight and get killed as of this present moment.
What are you talking about? I could kill Balor and he could kill me? Both outcomes of the same combat.
Simultaneous outcomes at this moment. That's my calculation.
Weird.
Success and failure are both possible outcomes, so there's little point in fighting.
Weird. So these alternative outcomes, if I win, where is Balor? And if he wins, where am I?
That's the big question. And I haven't worked it out yet. Maybe coexisting in alternative worlds, different dimensions.
Alternative worlds?
I might be wrong, of course.
Yes, you might be wrong. But there's only one way to find out.
You want to get on with it?
It's the only way. Balor, I have come to challenge you to single combat. I have come to chop off your head and show it to your Fomorian marauders. That'll teach them. That'll send them back to their caves and hovels in the far north. Balor!
Your style is a bit overblown, don't you think?
It's a heroic style, recommended for striking fear into the hearts of my opponents. Where is the coward anyway? Why does he not appear? We agreed to meet on this field of battle. I am in the right place, haven't I? This is Moytura.
The very place.
Well, then why does he not appear? My followers expect action. They'll grow impatient.
He was here, waiting for you from early morning.
Then where is he now? Did he get cold feet?
He's still here. I am Balor.
You?
Yes.
You're joking again, mocking me. Be careful, old man, I warned you.
Look, I'm sorry you're disappointed. Sorry you're not confronted by whatever great ogre you thought you were going to face, but that's your problem.
A withered old wreck. Well, how am I expected to fight you, and if I win, where would be the glory that I've been promised?
If I am your granddad, you should show respect.
No, this is some trick. I don't believe it. You can't be Balor.
Well, I can prove it!
Don't dare! Put your hands down by your side, or I will unleash the spear of Glorious.
Ridiculous! I've moved aside. You cannot aim without looking me in the face.
Yes, well, I know better than to look you in the face.
So you do believe I'm Balor?
No, I don't.
Then why are you hiding behind your shield?
Just in case.
That doesn't make sense. I could have dispatched you long ago. Why, you even gave me your spear to admire. And if I didn't kill you then, why would I want to kill you now?
I don't know. You keep confusing me.
And if you really think I'm not Balor, then you look rather silly.
No, I don't believe that you're Balor.
Well, let's discuss that possibility before we start fighting.
Keep your hands away from your hat.
I will. Now, it is true I might be Balor, equally true I might not, okay?
That makes
Now,
sense.
If I am Balor, and you are truly my grandson, then your guarantee by fate applies and you kill me. Are you following?
That is what will happen.
Now, if I am not Balor,
Then I kill you, or you kill me.
but if the story of your birth is bogus,
Are you not making life unnecessarily complicated, old man?
it's necessary to examine every detail before embarking on any serious action.
I think that this is a delaying tactic. You're trying to detain me until the real Balor emerges over the hill to surprise me.
You think too much like a military man. Life for a warrior is simple. Kill and avoid getting killed.
Well, why make it more complicated?
No one makes it complicated. It is complicated. And we should try to understand life in its complicatedness.
Why? Will that help us to kill more efficiently? Or to avoid death more successfully?
It might help you to avoid mistakes.
Give me an example.
By my calculation, there are 8 possible outcomes of your challenging Balor to single combat, given that you might or might not be the grandson of Balor, and that I might or might not be Balor, until all the unknown factors are clarified. It stays that way.
Unknown. I was told by my foster parents that I was the son of Ethna, daughter of Balor.
It proves nothing.
I was secretly smuggled off the island of Tory for fear that I would be murdered by her tyrant father, Balor of the Evil Eye.
All this stuff about me being a tyrant is enemy propaganda.
Didn't you lock your daughter, my mother, Etna, in your tower in Tory for fear that she would beget children?
I kept the little vixen at home for her own good.
Locked her up?
That's an exaggeration. If I had locked her up, she would not have managed coupling with a randy Keene. I kept her out of harm's way, as any responsible father would have done.
For fear that she would beget children.
That prophecy that I would die at the hands of one of my own progeny, that was a death threat, was it not?
Of course it was.
But what anyone have done in such circumstances but take reasonable precautions to preserve one's own life?
My mother had to conceal her pregnancy, then have me smuggled off the island of Tory for fear that you would put me to death.
Conceal? Don't make me laugh! She had a bump as big as muckish. How could she conceal it? And when the baby was born, the bloody din in the house every night was intolerable.
Then why did she have to give me away?
She didn't have to. She chose to. It was a career move.
Sending me off as a newborn baby.
She thought she would fare better with the two of the Dad and your father's people. They were the bright future, the Fomorians, the dark past, according to her.
Well, wasn't she right?
Look, I've no problem with a mother making career choices for her son. What I object to is tarnishing my name to give a veneer of honor to her self-serving actions. I could have drowned that brash as soon as it started yowling.
Well, I owe my mother a lot.
You are again jumping to a conclusion. We have not yet established you are that baby.
And we have not yet established that you are Balor.
Ah!
Stop there! Put your hands down by your side.
You seem to have a considerable belief I am Balor.
No, I'm taking reasonable precautions to protect my own life.
Then you should not be whining about me doing the same all those years ago.
Can I ask you a question?
Shoot.
There's no way that I can believe that you are Balor, the great warrior, the champion of the Fomorians, the figure that strikes terror into the hearts and souls of men. It's too ridiculous. The only reason that I'm talking with you is to kill time until the real Balor emerges to answer my challenge.
That is not a question, it is a speech.
I'm getting around to it. Supposing you were Balor, would you believe that I was your grandson?
Well, the evidence is conflicting, in no way conclusive. I've no difficulty in believing you're the son of Keene. The same mane of hair, the same good looks that would turn the head of any woman. You're the spit of your father, whoever your mother was. Your father left his spit, and it grew into his image.
Spit?
Ejaculation, you Abaddon.
And my mother?
Well, that's where the evidence is contradictory. You might be the spit, an image of your father, but you have none of the qualities of Ethna.
How come?
She had a bright and subtle intelligence. She was resourceful, quick-witted. She inherited my analytical mind. Now, you must admit, you have no trace of such characteristics.
Well, there is one way that I can prove my ancestry.
Yes?
By challenging and killing Balor.
Have it your way! Well?
Well, this is ridiculous. But what am I to do? Shout a challenge and have you answer it?
I would, of course, I would be obliged.
And then if I decline, they'll say that I was afraid to fight Balor. And if I fight and kill you, they'll laugh at me for killing an old man, old enough to be my grandfather.
They think Balor is your granddaddy. They should make allowances.
Either way, I look ridiculous.
Oh, of course. You could be killed. An alternative, now that might look better.
Killed by a man old enough to be my grandfather. How ridiculous is that? Where would be my glory then?
You know, you are beginning to grasp the complexities of life. You're learning. Maybe you do have some of my blood in your veins after all.
I have enough of my father's blood to do me. I don't need your blood.
But what you need is a little of my cunning.
I am a man of action. I detest cunning and deceit. And why should I need cunning when I'm the greatest champion in all of Ireland, capable of beating anyone?
Tell me then how your wonderful prowess is going to extricate you from your present dilemma.
I suppose that there is no alternative to issuing my challenge. If you respond, all the worse for you.
I don't want to mind. I'm a peaceful man.
That's the reputation you have, all right. Assuming you are bad.
Reputations are easy come by.
And easier law.
That's why I advise you to think first.
To think about what? Running away?
Think about fighting.
I think about fighting all the time.
What a waste of a brain. Assuming you inherited some of the material between your ears from me.
Fighting is the noblest expression of the human spirit.
Don't make me laugh. All that puffing and grunting and rolling around in the muck. Not to talk about leaving a bloody mess for someone else to clear up afterwards. Where's the nobility in that?
You speak like someone whose spunk has dried out with old age. How pathetic it is to be an old man with the spirit of an old woman.
Mind your manners, young man. I won't tolerate insults to old women. Any old woman has more intelligence in her small toe than you have in your whole gorgeous body.
Just put an end to your regardless and to all this talk.
Then your great army of the Tuatha De Danann will come swarming over the hill to find you've killed a defenseless old man. Some glory, some reputation that will give you.
It all depends.
It all depends. Everything is relative. At last, you're beginning to see the situation in its proper light.
I should never have engaged you in conversation.
Decisions. The present moment is a cluster of possibilities, right? The present contains all the potential outcomes from each action, from each choice. We might make all still real until we commit ourselves to a choice or until we act. Are you following?
No, but that won't stop you.
One action is enough to eliminate all the other possibilities.
Are you saying that as long as I do nothing, everything is possible?
Wonderful! You are beginning to get the hang of using your brain instead of your handsome biceps. Maybe there is a little bit of me in there after all.
Is that what you're saying?
You're absolutely right in your deduction. The so-called future is being constantly reduced by a progressively narrow outcome limited by what? Human actions!
So if we sit in our backsides doing nothing, everything is possible. But if we act, we narrow the possibilities of the future.
There you have it! You know, I think I might enjoy teaching you. I should have taken an interest in your education before now.
You weren't much of a granddad.
Well, it's never too late.
So you suggest that we sit in our backsides on top of this mountain, doing nothing?
Well, we could admire The beautiful scenery.
Here for the view.
Think of how extraordinary it would be to relax and bathe in the great ocean of possibilities.
You don't want to fight.
As we have seen, an outcome would reduce the possibilities eightfold, at least by my calculation. Of course, I could be wrong. Or if we take consequent actions into account, the reduction would be infinitely more. Why curtail the sheer richness of life?
What if it has all been decided in advance?
What do you mean?
I've been told on good authority that it is my destiny to kill Balor and oversee a golden age in Ireland. Tell me, where does that leave your ocean of possibilities?
I was coming to that.
Very slowly.
I had to take you through the baby steps first before it was safe for you to run.
Baby steps. I'm the greatest hero in all of Ireland.
And I am Balor, who can lay waste to the whole of Ireland with one glance of his evil eye. Now, can we leave aside all that tedious pig shite and concentrate?
Concentrate on combat, on impending battle.
Let's think first of outcomes. Have you ever thought of negotiation?
The conditions imposed on the defeated. No, I leave that to others.
No, I'm talking about negotiation beforehand, to avoid the unnecessary expenditure of energy, to avoid the ugly mess left by a battle. Think of the environment for once. All that human waste to be disposed of.
Ah, so that's what this is all about. You're afraid. You want to negotiate terms on behalf of the Fomorians. You know that they will be beaten and that it is sensible for them to retreat now to save their lives. But that's impossible. The two of the Danann are determined to break the power of the Fomorians once and for all. And that can only be achieved through decisive battle.
Decisive battle could lead to a decisive defeat for either side!
The outcome is predicted by fate. The victory is guaranteed to us!
This is really trying my patience. Haven't I demonstrated to you before that outcomes can be predicted only on the basis of current possibilities? Your prediction was obviously made some time ago on the possibilities existing then. Now, if anything has changed in the meantime, it will influence the accuracy of that prediction.
It would be much easier to fight than to endure all this talk.
Talk can avoid slaughter, so why not give it a try?
There is beauty in decisive action.
I've never witnessed that beauty, sorry. All I've ever seen is blood and gore, body parts strewn across a battlefield, carrion crows gorging themselves, the death of good men who will no longer plough fields or reap corn. All I've ever seen are crying women and children. You tell me that is beautiful? You need to re-attune your aesthetic sensibilities.
The sight of a battlefield may be dreadful, but poets will sing the glory of it.
Poets will sing the glory of a dog pissing if it's in their interest to do so. Mercenary lot.
What's your insults, old man? I'm a poet too.
Indeed, another of your failings.
You seem to have all the answers. So tell me, what are you recommending?
Negotiation.
A negotiated defeat. Well, by which side?
A negotiated victory!
Victory for the Fomorians over the two of the Danann. Have you lost your mind?
Oh no. Back to simplicity again. Haven't I clearly explained to you that the world is complex? Life is complex. You must set aside your simpleton outlook.
All right, I'm bloody listening. Get on with it.
The present moment contains all the possible outcomes of our actions until we act. Are you following?
I'm trying.
All right. I'll make it simpler for you. Picture the future as a row of 9 houses, each one with its front door open, inviting you in, asking you to live there. In each one, a life is waiting for you. Now, if you go in through one of those doors, that's it. All the others close. They disappear. And you are confined to the life you have chosen.
Nothing unusual in that.
Suppose you don't go through any of the doors. Suppose you walk up and down, admiring the houses, their doors forever open.
Not much point in that.
Maybe there is. Maybe all the possibilities or outcomes can exist simultaneously, in parallel. In one, you're the poet, in another, the builder, in another, the blacksmith, and so on.
What satisfaction would there be? Better to choose one life and live it wholeheartedly.
I'm trying to demonstrate the complexity, the richness of the present moment. That richness is being destroyed by our obsession with the future.
The future is what we're fighting for, what we're creating.
Nonsense! The future is an illusion. It will never exist. Only the present ever exists. The past, too, is another illusion.
Now you're being ridiculous. Of course the past existed. How else did we get here? Illusion.
What is the past to you?
To me, it is the accumulation of all the great deeds of the great heroes.
And how do you know about all those great deeds?
I've heard the stories. So have you. So has everyone.
Now, maybe if the stories were the invention of the storytellers.
But those great heroes, their deeds are immortal.
No, it's the stories that are immortal. Stories can be dangerous if they're not understood. They can lead the youth astray, you being a good example, and they create this ridiculous illusion that we call the past.
You don't believe in the past, you don't believe in the future, so tell me, what do you believe in?
I believe in the present and making the most of it.
In avoiding battle too, it would appear.
Among other things. Why litter this beautiful mountain with bodies?
If there is no battle, there can be no victory.
You are so slow. Do you not grasp anything of what I'm saying? I see now. I'm going to have to make it even simpler again for you.
The simpler the better.
You are focused on this battle. What outcome do you wish from it?
To defeat Balor in single combat, to chop off his head, and then lead the forces of the Duel de Danann to a comprehensive victory over the Fomorians. You no doubt are hoping for the exact opposite.
Not really.
So you'd be prepared to concede victory?
Not really.
Not really. Not really. Well, then get to the point.
The outcome, the victory for either side. How will it be manifested?
Manifested.
For the people, the so-called future generations as you picture them.
It will be manifested in a glorious reputation for the victor. He will be celebrated until the end of time.
The story of his deeds will be recounted generation after generation.
Yes. What?
What if we skip the battle so and move straight to the story of glorious deeds?
How can we skip the battle? That's where the glory is achieved.
Not really. The glory is achieved by the skillful weaver of the tale.
Is the teller to lie?
Storytellers always lie. That's what they do.
Why can't you speak directly, without always trying to confuse me?
I'm not trying to confuse you. The problem is that your brain did not develop. All right, I'll be plain. What I have in mind is moving to the story directly while bypassing the battle.
Bypassing the battle?
There are a lot of fine young men massed on both sides, Fomorians to the north, two of the Devon to the south. Now, would it not be better if they all went home to their families to till their fields, to reap their corn, instead of having their limbs scattered across this mountain?
Where would be the heroic deeds? Where would be the glory of battle? And where would be the adulation of the victors?
In the stories where they belong.
You want to negotiate the outcome of a battle and then commit it to a story.
The people are not interested in the battle. All they want is the story. Nothing has happened. Nothing exists for the mass of people unless as a narrative.
I don't follow you.
All right. Let's start at the beginning. Let me tell you about storytelling. A long time ago, a man was standing in the rain with his little boy. A peal of thunder rumbles across the sky. The child is terrified and asks his father, "What was that?" Of course, the father has no idea what causes the thunder, but he has heard it often enough to know it is relatively harmless. Nevertheless, to ease the terror of the boy, he starts. "There's a giant on top of the mountain over there, holding up the sky." And by the time he has unfolded a fantastical tale of this good-natured giant, the boy's fears have been allayed. So effective is the story in banishing the fears of one child that it is repeated by every other parent. By the time all those children have grown up and told it to their children in turn, the tale has been taken for the truth. Many other tales have been invented to cater for other fearful unknowns, so that now it is the story that people turn to in times of trouble, to give meaning to everything they see, to help them through their mundane lives.
Let me get this straight. What you want is to forget about the battle, go back down the mountain, tell our followers a story, and send them home happy.
Something like that.
So, who do you suggest we tell them won the battle?
What do you suggest?
For me, it has to be the two with the dam. You no doubt want to recount a glorious victory for the Fomorians.
We have to manage this carefully. Conflicting stories would be enough to set the people at each other's throats again, and soon enough. They're very particular about their stories. The story has to be credible. Well, that might not be the right word, given that they will believe anything. It has to have an inner consistency. That's a better description.
He who is victorious gets to tell the story.
No, whoever gets to tell the story is victorious.
You're scrambling my mind again.
I'm glad I have only one grandson, if you are really he. Any more would bring down the average intelligence level of the country alarmingly.
Watch your insults, old man, or I might lose control of myself. All right, just get on with it.
Say please.
Please stop wasting my time.
We move our focus to the nature of storytelling. It is the laws of storytelling that must decide the outcome. There are patterns, you know, well-worn paths that have to be followed. For instance, the young must always triumph over the old.
Good.
The fair must always triumph over the ugly.
Good.
Those perceived to be good must always triumph over those perceived to be evil.
I think you lose on all three counts.
You will note the principles of storytelling bear no relationship to real life.
They're good enough for me.
You the lucky one.
So?
Climax is the essential objective of narrative, just as anticlimax is the aspiration of everyday affairs. So, therefore, our story has to recount a glorious victory. Your victory over Balor of the evil eye.
An excellent story. I like it.
You challenge Balor to combat on the battle site of Moytura. All day long the battle rages between the two great heroes. The din of striking weapons is like thunder, like lightning the sparks that fly as steel spites steel. As Balor's strength wanes, it is time to unleash his greatest weapon, to unveil his mighty and destructive eye. But with a mighty cast of his spear, the magic spear of Gorgeous, Lugh pierces the evil eye of Balor. The spear passes through his head, and that mighty champion falls with a thud so loud that the two armies massed on either side of the mountain think there has been an earthquake.
It's a great story. I like it very much, but do you think it will be enough to satisfy the armies? I mean, I've thousands of men down there lusting for a battle. They might not be satisfied with the story of a battle. Listen to the hum. I think they're advancing already.
When you announce the great victory, tell them the Fomorians have withdrawn. Tell them that to celebrate, you are going to lead them back to the plains of Meath for a great fair, a contest of athleticism and skill. So there'll be competitions for every skill, and prizes such as have never been awarded before. Nothing like games to keep their minds off killing. And by the time they've expended their energies, they'll want nothing more than to go home and rest.
It might work for the two of the Dannon, but what about the Fomorians?
Oh, I'll tell them an honourable peace was agreed, and that the army of the Tuatha De Danann has withdrawn, and they will leave us in peace if we don't push Breas for the kingship.
It's a long shot.
Now, it's important to keep the story alive by adding tales and giving it a cosmic significance. This contest between Lugh and Balor was no common scrap, but a contest of the gods. The blazing son of Lugh was locked in struggle with the conquering winter frost of Balor. The contest took place at Samhain, and it is renewed every year on the eve of winter, when the destructive spirit of Balor walks abroad, laying gaze to any growing thing that has not been secured from his gaze by careful and timely harvesting, something like that.
So I do have a glorious name in history.
Couldn't be more glorious.
But if there are problems...
Well, there be no problems. Remember what I said. Keep them occupied. Games. and the Great Harvest Festival. Something always to look forward to, and stories. Glorious stories. Just keep the stories flowing, that will do the trick.
But if I need to consult you about the stories, will you be available?
You want to visit your old granddad occasionally? You want to come on holiday to Tory? No, I think it's better that we stay within our separate spheres of influence. We better not undermine the story. The North is mine, the South is yours, and the story is yours. Tomorrow let it out. Let it belong to the people. They will look after it. They will add to it. Never fear.
All right.
And don't start getting sentimental. It's time for us to part. Never to see one another again.
I will miss you. I'm sorry I didn't get to know you before now.
Typical offspring. Always tarry until it's too late.
I've just thought of a problem.
What is it?
According to destiny, I chop off the head of Balor and float it on top of a spear to dishearten the Fomorians and embolden the two of the down.
After all I've done for you. You want to cut off my head?
It's just a problem with the narrative.
It'll change the narrative.
You said it yourself, I'm no good at lying. The story needs to have an inner consistency. We can't just ignore that detail.
Well, if you want to cut off my head, you will have to fight for it. I never part with my head without a fight.
You can't fight with that.
Why not?
You need to have proper weapons equal to that of your opponent.
Oh, don't worry. I have some more in reserve.
I don't want to fight you anyway.
Oh, lost your appetite for killing?
I've grown fond of you.
Afraid
It's
of
the fact.
killing your own granddad?
Is there any way out?
There's always a way out, if you use your imagination.
Well, tell me.
The end of the story, a tale to the tale, if you like. Here it is. The dying Balor summons his last ounce of strength and turns himself into a great bull. He charges blindly at Lugh, but the young hero nimbly sidesteps and drives his sword into the heart of the bull. With a great and final bellow, the bull collapses and expires at the feet of Lugh. Lugh cuts off his head. When the army of the 200 Danann arrive, they find Lugh standing over the slain bull. Lugh bids them to take the carcass of the bull away with them for the victory feast they are going to prepare. Each warrior who tastes the flesh of that bull will be devouring the last trace of Balor and will inherit some of his powers. And every year at Harvest Festival, a bull will be killed and roasted in memory of the great contest between Lugh and Balor.
A bull.
There's a peaceful herd just grazing over the brow of the mountain. You can go over now and single out a well-fed, placid bull. You could manage that.
You know, you're not all bad. I'm sorry I didn't get to know you before now.
That's life. The sum of all we failed to do. Oh.
He won't fall.